Since 1968, there has been a lingering search, nonetheless, for a better kind of anti-systemic movement, one that would actually lead to a more democratic, egalitarian world. There have been four different sorts of attempts at this, some of which are still continue. There was first the efflorescence of the multiple Maoisms, Maoism, Marxist-Leninism, Maoism, Marxist internationalist Maoism, Mao Zedong socialism with Chinese characteristics, Dengism, now Xiism, etc. But Xiism exists in 2022, so we don't have to go there. From the 1960s until around the mid 1970s, there emerged a large number of different competing movements, usually small but sometimes impressively large, claiming to be Maoist, by which they meant somehow inspired by the example of the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution in China. Essentially, they argued that the old left had failed because it had not been preaching the doctrine of pure revolution, which they now propose, similarly to the way Trots did in the 40s and 50s. But these movements all fizzled out for two reasons. First, they quarreled bitterly amongst themselves as to what the pure doctrine was, what was the invariant mass line, as in India, where they evolved into newer versions of the old leftist movements. And secondly, and more fundamentally, with the death of Mao Zedong, Maoism disintegrated in China and found their inspiration disappeared. Today, no such movement of any significance exists. That was in 2022. They exist now. It is debatable whether or not they are of any significance in the core of the world. A second, more lasting variety of the claimant to anti-systemic status was the new social movements, the Greens and the other environmentalists, feminists, the campaigns for racial and ethnic minorities, such as blacks in the United States or Boers in France. These movements claimed a long history, but in fact, they either became prominent for the first time in the 1970s or else re-emerged in renewed and more militant form. They were also stronger in the pan-European world than in other parts of the world system. Their common feature lay, firstly, in their vigorous rejection of the old left's two-step strategy, in which the internal hierarchies and its priorities, the idea that the needs of women, minorities, and the environment were secondary and should be addressed after the revolution. And secondly, they were deeply suspicious of the state and state-oriented action. By the 1980s, all these new movements have become divided internally between